Detachment 5 of the Air Force European Broadcasting Squadron, along with the help of military news and the public affairs agencies, brings you each week an inside look at life in Turkey on location. Good evening. Just a few short years ago, the computer made itself known as a management tool due to its ability to digest a large amount of data, then spit it out in a more useful form. Today, computers can be found at just about every desktop at work and at home. Tonight, we're going to take a look at some folks who affect our daily lives through the use of computers, even though we never meet them. The folks at Data Automation. Hidden away behind the walls of the Incirlik Accounting and Finance Office is the 2006 Communication Squadron's Data Automation branch. Their main task is to provide computer support to users at Incirlik, Ankara, Izmir, and Perenjlik. Even though the term computer support is somewhat generic, it does have an indirect impact on all the Americans stationed at these 4 bases.
Like, for instance, the supply people, all stock numbers, they do ordering and updates, and everything that has to do with all the supply is kept out here in files that they access and get inquiries and things from. Everybody at station, not only here, but all the military people throughout the Republic of Turkey, their personnel records, things like that are stored here.
Contrary to popular belief, Data Automation doesn't collect data. The primary users are responsible for that. Data Automation primarily acts as the monitor for the computer system, ensuring everyone's data is properly inputted, processed, and printed out. The branch has some 20 people assigned who learn the basics of computer operations at Keesler Air Force Base in Mississippi. There, an intensive 8.5-week course gets them familiar with the equipment and what it can do. As an example, no matter how big a computer is, it still has 3 primary tasks, that of input, processing, and output. As Staff Sergeant Jordana Schulman explains, the primary difference between your computer and the computer Data Automation uses is the size of the hardware and the amount of data being processed.
Data Automation's hardware comes in the form of a Unisys 1160 mainframe. It covers well over 1,000 square feet of floor space, and access to it is strictly controlled.
So the control as to who comes in and out is secure for not only our purposes of not only the equipment itself, but also for our users and the personnel of the base, because all the information contained in here is at least Privacy Act data. So everyone's just not allowed access to it.
The system requires a well-regulated power supply and a constant temperature and humidity level. Maintaining these strict conditions is the primary reason you sometimes hear the computer's down when trying to order parts from base supply or when visiting CBPO.
The computer system isn't capable of taking surges and fluctuations in power very well, and normally if we have an unscheduled power outage or a loss of power, the machine powers itself off.
Not only that, once the computer's powered back up, it takes 1 to 2 hours just to initialize the system again. As far as storage is concerned, the system can immediately access some 2.8 billion bits of information at any one time. With the addition of 8 tape drives and several more removable and permanent disk drives, the amount of storage space is nearly unlimited. Not having any programmers assigned, Data Automation gets its software or computer programs from the Standard Systems Center at Gunter Air Force Station in Alabama. This ensures that all bases use the same computer-generated products, or RIPs, throughout the Air Force. Other theater-unique programs, such as housing priority listings, come from Ramstein Air Base in Germany.
In there for? You don't need to be going in there. If you're fine, guys, stay out.
That's right, kid. Don't listen. The hospital takes care of sick people, but you won't catch anything. Sure, kids get ill, but nothing will happen to you, right? Well, so I lied.
Guilty, I admit it. It started innocent enough at first, you know. I didn't know any better. And so what if I carry a little bag on my shoulder while I'm in uniform? But then once I knew, I couldn't stop. I started sneaking around, and it got to the point where it even affected my personal life. Yeah, I knew better, but I was addicted. I was a victim.
Dodge the hassles of wearing your pack and avoid the embarrassment of being out of regulation. Carry all bags and backpacks in your left hand.
So far, we've primarily looked at the physical aspects of data automation, the hardware and software as it's called. While it's an important part of the system, so are the people who run it, the operators and monitors, the people who run it 24 hours a day. The data automation field is basically broken down into two specific areas. Monitors are responsible for working directly with the customers.
We are the liaison between the OPR, the Office of Primary Responsibilities, whether it be military personnel, accounting and finance, or supply. We're the liaison between the Data Automation Center and the customer.
The monitors communicate with their customers either by phone or by the 180 remote terminals that are scattered throughout the Republic. These terminals are directly connected to the computer via telephone modems, but only during normal duty hours.
Okay, authorized users that are in fact hooked up to our system here can actually log on through their remote terminal device and access data that's stored on our system.
Other customers who don't have a remote terminal must type their data into their unit computer, save it to floppy disk, then hand carry the disk to data automation. From this point, the monitors merge the data into the base-wide database and schedule the job for processing.
Basically, the priorities are set by the OPRs. Okay, they let us know what they need and when, and then we have to make a determination of, well, is that more important than this? For instance, a payroll running would take precedence over anything else running.
Between the remote terminals and the hand-carried disk, the 4 assigned monitors have over 800 authorized users between them, and they stay pretty busy.
We normally process an average of about 23,000 transactions per day during the week, Monday through Friday.
It's the computer operators who make up the second part of data automation. They monitor the system throughout the day as different users log on and off.
I monitor the system for the onlines, make sure the users have no problems signing on, and keep their lines up, maintain any jobs that we run in the system, make sure they run properly.
Once 4:30 rolls around, the operators power down the remote terminals, then save the entire day's data to tape. This prevents losing anything should problems develop later on. Once finished, they start the night's processing. After loading a computer program from disk for a specific product or RIP, they load up the appropriate data tapes and print out those requested by the different users. Once done, they load up the next program and start the procedure again for a different product. Using 2 high-speed printers, they typically print 500,000 lines of information per night. Once the weekend arrives, the operators save the entire week's processed data using some 30 reels of tape. These tapes are then stored elsewhere on base to prevent them from being damaged should something happen to their building. Inside their library, they have some 3,000 reels of tape with records going back several years. As we've seen, the task of putting pencil to paper has gradually increased to the point we can no longer do it without the help of computers. As computers become more sophisticated, so too will the type and amount of data being typed in. As always, data automation will be there to ensure it's all running smoothly. Thanks for joining us tonight. Join us again next week when we come to you from the 39th Supply Squadron's Fuels Management Branch.